Salam everyone. So we're just a few weeks into the new year. We're in January 2022. It's also a new semester. Today's the first day that, Texas University and University of Houston and other universities are starting off their semester. So here are a few things on my mind. Primarily, I got one question. The question is, and I've been fascinated by this topic since I was a kid, but as an adult, I think it's even more relevant, it's even more critical, it's even more important. And the question is, what is personal development? What does it mean to improve? What does it mean to get better? What are the areas in which we need to develop? And obviously the follow-up is how best to develop in these areas. I obviously don't have all the answers. It's an ongoing type thing. These are topics I research and always look for examples of people that are successful in different areas. Always look to improve. And it's a lifelong journey, obviously. I don't think you can possibly get to a point where you're like, I don't need to physically improve in any which way. I'm as healthy and as fit as possible. Like, you can never be too fit, I don't think. You can never be too knowledgeable, too spiritual, too religious, too close to God. I don't think that exists, right? Just hope that if we're constantly getting better every day, that we die at a good level and that, we had a good quality of life. Versus being more passive and more kind of just going with the flow and letting the currents take you. Being a couch potato, kind of not giving every day your all. No, I think the choice for me is obvious. Personal development is definitely the path worth taking. Even if there are fewer people on this path than there are people that have accepted that, like, I am the way I am, or perfect just the way I am, or these are some of the messagings in our culture which I think might be well intentioned and they definitely sound good on paper, but they're not good pieces of advice. You're perfect just the way you are. Just do it. Whatever makes you happy. Don't let anybody change you. Things like that. Just do it, basically. Follow your desires, follow your whims. Think short term versus long term. I know I'm only 28, and that's young by many standards, but I know for a fact, I've had enough life experience to know for a fact that delaying gratification is better. Even though it's tough, by definition. Short term pain, long term pleasure is definitely better than short term pleasure, long term pain, when those are the choices. An example of that, for those who might not be following, an example would be, it's a Friday night and a bunch of the people that you know from college, from high school, from whatever, say, come join us, we're going to go party, we're going to do whatever it is we're going to do. We're hanging out this Friday night, and there's going to be one or two or more activities taking place that aren't good for you, such as drinking and so on. But there's also a natural fear of missing out. That if you're not there, you're going to be thinking about it. Like, if you're doing whatever else you're doing Friday night, you're going to be thinking about, I wish I was there, I wonder what's happening, I'm missing out. So short-term pain, you can say it's a type of pain. For some people more than others. Some people it's very tough for them to go against peer pressure. Some people it's a little bit easier, but I find that I have to be honest with myself, it's tough at times. But so that's short-term pain, but long-term pleasure, you not drinking and possibly getting an accident or so on, it's better off. You're living a better life not drinking. So just an example. Yeah, so areas of personal development, I think I'm pretty certain that I have thought through all of them, but don't have all the answers on how to improve in all these areas. But financially, I think among the most common goals people make at the beginning of a new year, like in terms of New Year's resolutions and so on, finances I'm sure is high up for everybody, above 18 or above 25. But I'll definitely hope to improve my finances this year, inshallah. This needs to be its own video, but wealth is nothing to be afraid of. Power, I don't think is anything to necessarily be afraid of. These things might have a negative connotation, and it's understandable, but they're not evil in and of themselves. I really don't believe so. Influence, power, money, wealth are just tools. You can use them for good, you can use them for evil, and just because we live in a time where a lot of people seem to be rich, powerful, and evil or engaged in corrupt, or oppressive, they're engaged in oppression and corruption and persecution of others who aren't, rich or powerful. It doesn't mean that that's what, power or money is for. what it needs to be used for. If you're a good-hearted person and you're trying to help as many people as you can in this life, then having more money will definitely help. Having more influence will definitely help. The bigger your social media following, the more people you can impact. It's just a fact. So if you believe you have a good message for the world, if you believe that you use your money to help other people, not if you believe, if you do, if you believe that whatever position you have, and there are people under you, or when you're a leader and you treat your followers in a good way, then having more followers is not a bad thing. Being a higher level leader is not a bad thing. On the contrary, if more money means you're going to take care of more people, you're going to give more in charity, then it's a good thing. How you earn your money and how you spend it, how you earn that fame, or how you attain that level of fame or that platform, and then what you do with it. That's what judges whether it's right or wrong. But in and of themselves, I don't believe they're evil. But anyways, I'd like to definitely improve my finances in 2022. Mentally, on the mental goal, I definitely want to continue taking classes. Alhamdulillah, I've been taking classes basically non-stop since I was a kid, obviously in school, but in the last 10 years or so since high school, I recognize that the classes we take in school are just not enough for me. I'm not satisfied with just what we're taught in school: math, science, English, history. There's plenty of benefit in those areas, those disciplines, those subjects, but it doesn't make for a well-rounded person. And I found that most of the important life lessons I learned outside the classroom. So among the online classes I would recommend, or the institutes that give online classes I would recommend, for those who might be watching this, I would recommend Sapience Institute, SAPIENCE Institute. You can look it up. They have classes on philosophy and theology and other things. Dawah, how to give dawah, how to intelligently and compassionately put forth a case for Islam, discuss and debate and dialogue with people about faith. So that's probably the number one institute for that. Yapaidi Institute has an app and they have classes and videos and so on. I recommend that. Yapaidi Institute also has excellent articles. So if you're trying to improve mentally, it's a great place to start. I would also recommend Al-Maghrib Online. They have classes on, these are all in the realm of, you can say, religion, but courses, knowledge. So that's on the, in terms of your mental development. I would recommend these three, primarily. And then if there's any area in which you want to learn more about, let's say you're into photography or videography, let's say you want to code Academy or code.org, or code.com. You can Google it, you'll find it, but 2022, like any other year, is always an excellent time to learn more and to develop your knowledge and skills and abilities. I don't know what makes a person more valuable than their knowledge, skills, and abilities. Think about it. You don't choose your skin color, nationality, where your parents are from, the socioeconomic status in which you grew up in. You don't choose your own name. We don't choose our DNA. So in nature and nurture, we didn't really choose either. The first 15 or 20 years of your life, you didn't choose where you grew up and what environment you're in, what schools you went to. So that's, that's nurture. That's like the environment around you, your parents. You don't choose that. And then your nature, your DNA, we don't get to choose. So those are very important factors in that play into who you're going to be. But then, so why focus on those? But focusing on the things that you can control, the choices you can make, you choose the knowledge, skills, abilities you want to focus on and improve in, and the classes you take to a certain extent. So I try to take that very seriously, and I highly recommend you do. Also, there's a lot of fun might not be the word. It's not really fun to take classes. I mean, I've enjoyed maybe a few classes over the years, but overall, it's not really about the fun. But there is a satisfaction, though. It's powerful in a good way. It's satisfying to be able to choose your own classes and choose what you take. And you might not be able to do that for most majors in university. You can choose your own major. Some families allow that, some families don't. Sometimes there's a lot of pressure. Sometimes you're choosing a job that's going to make a certain amount of money because you need to make money. And that's real life. And in high school and below, you have very little to no choice in terms of the classes. Maybe a little bit in high school. But but with the last 10, 15 years of the explosion of online courses, you get to, with the extra hour or two a week you have, you get to choose what classes to take. So it's satisfying. I recommend you guys maximize that. It's really tough to, I doubt anybody's gonna, it's possible, but to regret taking an online class if it's a complete choice. I'm not even talking about like you're at a university, there's classes offered online. I'm talking about you going to some of these websites like EDX and Coursera and others, Udemy, and taking classes on photography, videography, coding, editing, art, other things that you're passionate about, finance, business, marketing. They have classes on all this on social media. Taking a class on topic you want to get better at, and then spending the 5, 10, 15 hours, 20-hour course, it's very unlikely that you're going to regret it. It's nice to have that choice. That's mental. On the physical, I'm constantly thinking about this. I've been passionate about fitness and so on since around middle school, maybe even a little bit earlier. And throughout middle school and high school, I was regularly playing a number of sports, alhamdulillah. Although I wasn't really exceptional at any of them, I played them for the fitness mainly, and for the teamwork and meeting people and making friends. And then and going to the gym and working out, I never took it so serious. I never took it to a level as serious as some other people who are counting, every carb and every calorie and I never did that. I never power lifted it. I rarely pushed myself to the max to see what my personal record is. I did it rarely, but I wasn't on that level of intensity. But I recently got back in the gym, and it's a great feeling, alhamdulillah, and I hope to be consistent throughout this year. A couple of days ago, and it's on my Instagram, I was flipping tires. I forgot, it was like an 80 kilogram tire, so it wasn't on the heavy side. Actually, it's on the lighter side, because they're 300 pound tires, and I've tried those a little bit. But it was this particular new gym that I went to has an 80 kilogram tire, and so I was going for endurance, and I flipped it about 50 times or more, going back and forth across the room, multiple times, probably more than 50 times, and until my quads, hamstrings, gluteus, and forearms and lower back were all sore. So that was a great feeling, almost a full body workout. And then yesterday I did, chest, back, and shoulders. So I basically split it like upper and lower. Anyway, that's neither here or there. But if you've ever been to the gym, if you've ever worked out at any point in your life, I don't need to tell you about the possible pain in it. And some people, I think minority of people actually enjoy working out. I generally don't enjoy it while I'm in it. But who would? I don't know anybody that would prefer to be less fit and less muscular and less in shape. And so you do it for the results, even if the process itself is annoying, frustrating, and painful and tough. You can do it for the results. And I don't have to tell you if you've ever been to the gym or ever been consistent at any point or ever worked out, the feeling that comes afterwards, satisfaction of working out. So I think it's from Allah. It's natural that there's certain things you do that are good for you, that you feel good afterwards. But yeah, that's just a byproduct. But the reality is that in your teens and 20s, which are most of the people I interact with on a regular, I visit high schools, I visit universities. In your teens and 20s, if you didn't eat well, you didn't sleep well, and you didn't exercise regularly, you didn't play any sports, and you just played video games all day and sat and studied and did homework, and basically you were not, you didn't move around at all. You didn't, your heart didn't pump any blood or anything. You didn't get in your cardio. You didn't, raise your breathing level and so on. You'll probably still be okay health-wise in your 20s, maybe even your 30s. But when you work out in your teens and 20s and 30s, you're mainly doing it for your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s onwards. Because at that age, it's not too late to start working out and exercising, and you should if you haven't already. But you're going to be experiencing some of the negative effects of you not working out and not eating healthy, not sleeping well earlier on. So anyway, for physical goals, at the basic level, all of us need to do better with our sleep. I don't know the statistics. I'll probably look into it for another video on sleep. But the statistics are probably really bad because the last 10, 15 years, with people on their phones, on social media and so on, I'm sure the statistics are there on how people are sleeping later and more screen time and more light in your eyes and less quality of sleep and quantity of sleep. I'll look into it, inshallah, for its own video, but I know we're not sleeping well as a population, as a people. Not sleeping as well as we should. Exercise is kind of split. Like, I live in the US, where you guys might be all around the world, but in the US, it's kind of split. There's a good chunk of our society that care a lot about health and fitness and so on. There's a culture in America of sports and so on. Other countries don't have that as much. I've been to, have that 16, 17 other countries. Other people don't have that culture. The Middle East lacks a lot of the fitness, sports culture, athletic culture. Although it's changing a little bit, but it's also some of the most obese countries are also in the Middle East. But the US also has a culture of obesity and fast food and so on. So it's kind of split. But yeah, actions have consequences, choices have consequences. So I'm not here to shame anybody if you are overweight or obese, or you don't exercise regularly, and it's not for me to judge, and whether I judge you or not is also irrelevant. But for you, because I care about you, my advice to you and to myself is to invest in, it's your body. It's the one body you're gonna have for the rest of your life. So in your teens and 20s, you might think you're busy, but you have that 30 minutes a week, an hour a week. Even if you're, aiming for all A's this semester in university, you probably still have 30 minutes a week. Do a few push-ups. Spiritual goals, depends on where you're at. If you aren't praying, do your best to pray as much as you can. Try to get in your 5 prayers, if you're Muslim. If you're not Muslim, I highly do encourage you to look into other faiths, to look into Islam. It is the truth 100%, and you feel free to DM me, and we can always discuss, dialogue, and debate. I'm here for you guys. But yeah, knowing that Islam is the truth, having that relationship with God, your creator of the whole world, it's the faith and lifestyle that God chose for humanity. It's not just for someone who's white or brown or black. It's not someone who's Arab or Pakistani or Indian or Egyptian or Indonesian, Nigerian. Islam is a faith for humanity, it's for everybody. So recognizing that there is a creator, because we have last 10, 15 years we've seen an explosion of a trend of agnosticism and atheism in the US and Europe and around the world. But recognizing that there is a creator, and that you have this one life. We're all going to die, and it can happen at any moment. But you're in this life. You have a test, and you have a purpose, which is to connect with that Creator. And I'm doing my best to live a meaningful life where you submit to the Creator and you obey the Creator, you worship the Creator, and you treat people well. And that's the crux of Islam. That's what it is to be Muslim. It's very simple at its core. To connect with the Creator and to connect with people, to be a good person to others and to worship your Creator. And yeah, so spiritual goals, mental goals, physical goals, I have financial goals, maybe for another video. And that's pretty much it. Talk to you guys soon, inshallah.